you look behind the Fk9 here, and there's some sort of artistic lettering that says, what this says is ELA. This is an airplane that comes out of Germany, so ELA has a relationship to European light aircraft. But what it really means to Americans is this airplane is well known. We've seen this thing for quite a while here at American air shows, and we know it as the Fk9 Mark IV. And there was a Mark 1, 2, and 3 before that, and this airplane's been around quite a while and went through all the development. This might be called the Fk9 Mark V, but they're using ELA as the name on this particular model that we're seeing here. This is quite a bit changed from the earlier ones. Still looks pretty much like the same airplane we saw before, but there's a couple of little giveaways. An extra window in the back. When we look on the other side, we'll see a baggage area that didn't used to be there, but this is also a larger airplane. It's hard to tell visually, but it indeed is. So it's a little better suited to the American market. Some of us Americans are a little bigger, and it meets the LSA standards that much better too.
Even in the earlier models, I flew with Tony down in Florida. I mean, he's big.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
And I'm not small anymore.
You like a restaurant too.
And we still had lots of room inside that airplane.
Yeah, it looks visually smaller than it feels when you're inside it. That's true. And but it's a nicely finished off airplane made in the center of Germany in a town called Speyer. And this company's been around, and they've got quite a variety of things. This is the same company that made the Fk14 that Cirrus adapted to be their LSA back when they were at least pursuing that thing. Now that's going to go a different direction now apparently. But so they made a beautiful low wing. That's the Fk14 Polaris. They made this Fk9 here in a variety of models, as we just discussed. They also make a folding wing biplane with aerobatic capability. And the Hanson Air Group that's representing this in the United States now is looking to equip that with a Lycoming engine with inverted systems so they can actually do aerobatics in it. And to my knowledge, that's the only LSA that is welcoming that kind of activity in a light sport aircraft.
Now, are they still powering this with the old Rotax 912?
Yep, well, it's a new one, I suspect, but it's the same engine that we see on so many of our airplanes. Somewhere close to 80% of all light sport aircraft use the Rotax 912. So does this one, and it almost looks like there's not enough room in there for it, but that's another sign of the careful design work by Peter Funk and his team that have designed, gosh, I've forgotten how many airplanes they've got, 15 or 16 different designs they've done over many years, and then Peter's father is another highly qualified designer in Germany. These folks know a thing or two about designing airplanes. If some of the actual work on the airplane is done in Poland, the fabrication of some of the composite, that's a good thing because those folks, again, like so many of these European airplanes, have a sailplane background, and those folks know how to do some really nice composite work. So some of what we're seeing on this airplane is a result of that. But then it's all brought to the German place where there's their home base in Germany, and that's where all the assembly and finish work and test flying and the fitting of avionics and so forth is done. So it's just component parts that are manufactured outside of Germany. Otherwise, it's an all German airplane.
Well, let's go have a look at the interior.
Let's do that. It's great in there.
Okay, you're sitting in this. You look quite comfortable.
Oh, we're shooting video? Yeah, I was just having a good time in here.
I woke you up again today.
No, this is just a nice little airplane. And I got my hand on a cushion here. This cushion comes out and it goes down even further. So this is one way with this cushion arrangement that you can make this accommodate different people. But that's not all in the seat structure. The seat also can move forward, and you can fix that in any position that I'm showing in the movement here. In addition, the lower seat, the seat cushion moves forward now too. So a lot of adjustability for people. Like you said, you don't have to be one size to fit in this airplane. That's pretty cool.
And control system-wise on it, they're just using standard dual controls?
Standard dual controls, dual joysticks, in a nice position here, the hand on your knee kind of thing. One difference about this airplane from a couple of the ones we've looked at today is it does not have toe brake. It uses a center brake right here in the middle. Nice grip on it, again accessible by either occupant, and that's all the braking these kind of airplanes need. Right next to that there's another little handle down here. I got my hand behind it here for you. This is the trim position, and right in front of that is flaps. It's electric flaps, and they are just the click to flaps. We're going to move them, but nothing's going to happen because the battery is disconnected here at the air show. But 1 notch, 2 notch, full flaps. And you just flip it to that position and look away back at flying the airplane. You don't have to dwell on it. In addition, because we've got a central brake here that does both brakes at the same time, we've got nose wheel steering on it, rudder pedals on both sides, and they're nice and comfortable down here. And I've got my legs extended pretty well, so this is, for me, a very comfortable airplane to sit in. 42 inches wide at the doors. I'm going to pull the door down partly closed, not all the way because it's warm out here. but in a latch fore and aft with a nice secure latching arrangement right here. As far as ventilation, the warm day out here, you got the mecha plates right in the door panels. You've also got two nice inlets right here in the center that, well, of course, when you're flying, going to bring in a lot of nice air to you. Right below that, a series of switches with very nice graphics to illustrate what they're doing. In the panel here, we've got a couple of small round gauges just to back up the two Dynons that are in it. We've got the very familiar Dynon D100 and D120. Again, those can switch information back and forth and display a variety of things, but it's what I would call a typical German execution. Very clean, including little things like the fuel over here. There's one on both sides, and they do that partly because these wings come off. When you want, of course. If we look up here with your camera, you're seeing some of the control mechanisms here from the joystick motion, but as I pull that back, there's a lever up here, and that's to help quick disconnect the wings. On this particular airplane that we're looking at, the wings don't fold, they disconnect, but even that's only about a 5-minute proposition, and that's one of the reasons why the fuel selector is down here, I suspect. Fuel indication, this is going to be a little hard for your camera to see because it's black probably from your perspective, but from where I'm seated here, and I can see it on both sides very well, it's a clear tube that's marked to show the quantity of fuel in each wing. Very, very visible to either occupant.
Now, why is there metal up there, Don? I thought this was a composite airplane to look at.
Well, it does. It has a composite exterior, so that is the right view. But yeah, you can see welded steel up above me here. That's because inside of these door finishings and interior moldings that they've got, this is a steel cage airplane, which gives a lot of people comfort. That's a real strong and well-known way to manufacture an airplane. But you know, while we were up here and looking at this quick disconnect, there is a nice option on the cruiser model for a nice little lever. You get a special little tool. You go out to the wing after you disconnect some of these. You can see this cowling on the strut here is down on that wing a little bit. That's so they can show people at the air show. But you make a couple of motions first, then you go out to the wing, and you stick a lever in the wingtip, and one guy can pull the wing back. They've got a nice little cradle that holds the wing. So for those that really want an easy wing fold, not remove, they've got an option for that too.
Now, what about cross-country capability? What kind of fuel and what kind of range do we have on this airplane?
Well, first of all, let's talk about the useful load on it, because that's really cool on this airplane. As they went from the Mark IV to the Mark V or the ELA version, the useful load with this, with its standard BRS parachute in the cruiser model, that's one of the higher level models, that comes standard with a ballistic parachute in it, they've still got 600 pounds of useful in this airplane. That's right up there near the top of the category. In addition to some of the other nice stats about this airplane, cruise is about 110 knots. It's not quite the fastest in the category, but it's a nice way to scoot along the sky. And depending on the two models that you get, the base model has 20 gallons of fuel, the cruiser model has 26 gallons of fuel, longer than I can go without having to stop for a rest break. And slows down really well too. It gets to stall speed is only 45 knots on it, but one of the cool things about it is these doors that move and open and close so easily can be opened in flight. Now you need to restrict the speed on it, so you want to fly with the flaps down. But if you want to do a little loitering over some scenic area, pop the doors open, and man, you got visibility like crazy. It's not bad with the doors closed, but it's really wide open with the doors open.
And the one we saw in Florida, Danny, was equipped with bomb and amphib floats on it too.
Yes, they've got floats equipped for it, and I think they're available in both straight and amphibious floats. Of course, that's going to take away a little bit of your useful, even while they get some additional weight. As most of us know, the weight can go up 110 pounds if you've got a float-equipped airplane. But you'll still have, with that large useful load on it, I think some of these are going to end up on floats.
So if we want to get more information, where would we go?
Well, you go to HansenAirGroup.com, and that's Hansen, not O-M. So HansenAirGroup.com, and these folks will not only have information on this particular airplane, but also on the Fleming Air low wing that they've offered, and the Sky Arrow that's been around for many years, a high wing tandem. So they've got a selection of airplanes for you, HansenAirGroup.com.
And do you have a flight report on this airplane?
I haven't flown the ELA Mark V yet, but I do on the Mark IV and the Comet and the Polaris and the Sky Arrow, and so there's quite a few of those available at buydanjohnson.com or bydanjohnson.com.